Kyle Larson said he wants you to practice his car since it's available for the All-Star race. I'm curious if anybody from Hendrick has talked to you yet, and if that's a possibility.
You broke up there a little. I didn't hear. Anybody else got any other questions? Is there?
Carl Edwards, the former NASCAR sensation, has recently found himself back in the spotlight after receiving an unexpected invitation from fellow racer Kyle Larson. Larson, who is gearing up for an ambitious racing doubleheader in 2025, publicly extended an invitation to Edwards to step back into the driver's seat for a practice session during the upcoming NASCAR All-Star race. This request has sparked a wave of excitement and curiosity among fans, reigniting discussions about Edwards' storied career and his abrupt departure from the sport in 2016. Edwards, a fan favorite during his time in NASCAR, left an indelible mark on the racing world with his remarkable talent and charismatic personality. Over the course of his career, he secured an impressive 28 Cup Series wins and a total of 72 victories across NASCAR's 3 national series. His signature backflip celebrations after each win became a beloved tradition, symbolizing his passion and energy for the sport. However, at the height of his career, Edwards shocked the racing community by announcing his retirement. His decision to walk away from the track at what many considered his prime has remained a topic of speculation and intrigue ever since. The recent buzz around Edwards stems from Larson's public appeal for him to return, even if just for a brief moment. Larson, who is set to attempt the grueling double in 2025, competing in both the Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day, needs a substitute driver to take his place. During the NASCAR All-Star race practice, in a statement to Fox Sports, Larson expressed his desire to see Edwards behind the wheel once again. "I would love to have Carl Edwards do it. I think it would be great as my pick this year. I've mentioned it to Jeff Gordon and Cliff Daniels, but nobody outside of that. So it's not anything serious right now, but that's who I would pick. I think that would make a huge splash in the sport and be great," Larson said. Edwards' response to Larson's invitation has been both humble and lighthearted, showcasing his trademark charm. In an interview with Fox Sports' Bob Pockrass, Edwards shared his thoughts on the request. "Actually, this is cool. My friend sent me that, and really, it's an honor. I mean, he's one of the fastest guys to ever drive one of these cars. And for him to say that I don't know if he's messing with me," Edwards joked. He went on to add, "I'm very likely to crash a car if I were to get in one right now." No. Edwards' playful yet self-deprecating response highlights his down-to-earth nature and his awareness of how much time has passed since he last competed. While he hasn't entirely ruled out the possibility of returning to the track, his comments suggest that he's content with his life post-retirement and isn't actively seeking a comeback. Nevertheless, the mere idea of Edwards making a brief return has sent ripples of excitement through the NASCAR community, with fans eagerly speculating about what could happen if he were to accept Larson's invitation. The prospect of Edwards stepping back into a NASCAR vehicle, even for a single practice session, would undoubtedly be a monumental moment for the sport. It would not only serve as a nostalgic nod to his legendary career, but also provide a thrilling opportunity for fans to witness one of the sport's most iconic figures back in action. Whether or not Edwards decides to take Larson up on his offer, the conversation has already reignited admiration for his contributions to NASCAR and left fans dreaming of what could be.
No, it was cool. My friend Chris Santucci sent me that, and really, I mean, it's an honor. He's one of the fastest guys to ever drive one of these cars, and for him to say that, I don't know if he's messing with me. I'm very likely to crash a car if I were to get in one right now.
This statement offers a deeper insight into Carl Edwards' mindset as he reflects on Kyle Larson's invitation to return to NASCAR, even if just for a brief appearance. Edwards' initial reaction is one of genuine honor and appreciation for Larson's request, underscoring the respect he holds for Larson as one of the sport's top talents. However, his response also reveals a layer of self-awareness and humility, as he openly acknowledges the challenges he would face after being away from professional racing for so long. Edwards' candid admission about the likelihood of crashing if he were to get back behind the wheel highlights his realistic assessment of the situation. It's a refreshingly honest take from a former champion who understands the immense skill and precision required to compete at NASCAR's highest level. His comment, "I'm very likely to crash a car if I were to get in one right now," not only showcases his humility, but also emphasizes how much the sport has evolved since his retirement in 2016. Edwards recognizes that the transition back into a race car after such a long hiatus wouldn't be seamless, and his willingness to admit this speaks volumes about his character. Further elaborating on his hesitation, Edwards mentioned the possibility of testing his abilities in a simulator before committing to anything, but but that is kind of interesting. I'd have to go run a sim or something like that and see if I can even get around North Wilkesboro. He said, this comment reveals a glimmer of curiosity and openness to the idea, suggesting that while he's cautious, he hasn't completely shut the door on the possibility. The mention of North Wilkesboro, a historic and challenging track, adds another layer to his thought process, as he considers whether he could still navigate such a demanding circuit after years away from the sport. However, Edwards also made it clear that no official discussions have taken place regarding his potential return. But nobody's officially talked to me about it. No, he stated, indicating that Larson's invitation, while flattering, remains more of a public suggestion than a concrete plan. This lack of formal communication further underscores the informal nature of the request and Edwards' measured approach to the idea. Overall, Edwards' response paints a picture of a retired champion who is both honored by the recognition and grounded in his understanding of the realities of returning to such a high-stakes environment. His comments reflect a balance of nostalgia for the sport he once dominated and a pragmatic assessment of his current capabilities. Whether or not Edwards ultimately decides to take up Larson's offer, his thoughtful and candid reaction has already added an intriguing chapter to his legacy, leaving fans wondering if they might one day see the iconic backflip celebration one more time.
But that is kind of interesting. But I'd have to go run the sim or something like that and see if I could even get around North Wilkesboro. But nobody's officially talked to me about it.
Despite his initial hesitation, Carl Edwards has left the door slightly ajar for a potential return to NASCAR. Even if it's just for a brief appearance, his remarks reveal a man who, while cautious, hasn't entirely ruled out the possibility of stepping back into the racing world. No, it's never a total no, Edwards stated, showcasing his characteristic openness to keeping his options alive. This statement alone is enough to spark excitement among fans, as it suggests that the retired champion hasn't completely closed the chapter on his racing career. Edwards went on to explain his thought process, saying, I like options, but I don't know. I'd say yeah, it's no for now, but I'd drive a sim and check it out about it now. This comment highlights his pragmatic approach to the situation. While he isn't ready to commit to a full-fledged return, he's willing to explore the idea further, particularly through the use of a simulator. The simulator would allow him to gauge his current skill level and comfort behind the wheel after years away from the track. It's a logical step for someone who understands the demands of professional racing and wants to ensure he could still perform at a competitive level. Edwards' willingness to consider the possibility, even in a limited capacity, speaks to his enduring connection to the sport. His mention of driving a simulator reflects his respect for the challenges of NASCAR and his desire to approach any potential return with preparation and caution. It also underscores his competitive nature while he's content with his life. Post-retirement, the idea of testing himself again clearly holds some appeal for fans. Edwards' comments are a tantalizing hint of what could be. The thought of seeing him back in a car, even if only in a simulator or for a practice session, is enough to reignite memories of his glory days and the excitement he brought to the sport. Whether or not this leads to an actual return remains to be seen, but Edwards' refusal to give a definitive no keeps the possibility alive, leaving the NASCAR community eagerly watching for any further developments.
All right, but that wasn't a total no.
No, it's never a total no. I like options, but I don't know. I'd say, yeah, it's no for now, but I'd drive a sim and check it out.
The potential return of Carl Edwards to NASCAR, even for a single event, presents several challenges. The sport has undergone significant changes since Edwards' retirement in 2016, most notably with the introduction of the next-gen car. This new vehicle has posed adaptation difficulties even for current drivers, let alone those who have been away from the sport for an extended period. Edwards' lack of recent racing experience is another factor to consider. The high-speed, high-pressure environment of NASCAR requires drivers to maintain peak physical and mental condition, as well as familiarity with current racing strategies and technologies. Edwards would need extensive preparation to compete at the level expected in a NASCAR event. The implications of Edwards' comments extend beyond the immediate question of his participation in the All-Star race practice. By leaving the door open for future involvement, Edwards has reignited interest in his potential return to the sport. This has generated excitement among fans who have long hoped to see the popular driver back on the track. Edwards' response also highlights the enduring interest in his career and the impact he made on NASCAR, despite being away from the sport for several years. Edwards remains a figure of significant interest and admiration within the racing community. If Edwards decides not to accept Larson's invitation, Hendrick Motorsports will need to explore alternative options for a substitute driver. One possibility is Kevin Harvick, who filled in for Larson during the 2020 for All-Star race practice when Larson first attempted the double. Harvick's recent experience with the next-gen car and his continued involvement in the sport through broadcasting make him a logical choice, while the focus has been on Edwards' potential return. It's important to note the significance of Kyle Larson's 2025 double attempt. Larson's previous attempt in 2024 faced significant challenges due to weather delays. He was unable to compete in the Coca-Cola 600 after completing the Indianapolis 500, as rain delays in Indianapolis prevented him from reaching Charlotte in time for the NASCAR race. The 2025 attempt presents new challenges for Larson. Recent rule changes affecting playoff eligibility add extra pressure to his scheduling and decision-making. If weather or other unforeseen circumstances delay the Indy 500, Larson will face a difficult choice between completing the race and ensuring he makes it to the Coca-Cola 600 in time to maintain his NASCAR championship eligibility. Carl Edwards' NASCAR career was marked by numerous achievements and near misses. He entered the sport during what many consider its financial peak, a time when breaking into NASCAR was particularly challenging. Edwards, who was working as a substitute teacher while trying to establish himself as a racer, famously handed out business cards at tracks that read, "If you're looking for a driver, you're looking for me." His persistence paid off when Jack Roush gave him his big break. Edwards quickly climbed the ranks from the Truck Series to the Xfinity Series, and finally to the Cup Series. Along the way, he captivated audiences with his skill on the track and his trademark backflips off his winning car. One of Edwards' most memorable moments came at Talladega Superspeedway, where he ran across the finish line to complete a race after his car had been wrecked on the final lap while battling Brad Keselowski for the win. This determination and showmanship endeared him to fans and fellow competitors alike. Edwards' career saw him compete for several top teams. He eventually left Roush to join Joe Gibbs Racing in pursuit of an elusive Cup Series championship. He came agonizingly close to the title twice, most famously losing the 2011 championship in a tiebreaker to Tony Stewart. His final shot at the title came in 2016 when he was leading the season finale, before a controversial late caution led to a restart where Edwards was involved in a wreck. Following that heartbreaking loss, Edwards made the shocking decision to step away from NASCAR. Edwards' retirement announcement came as a surprise to many, given that he was still at the height of his competitive abilities. Edwards has never been fully transparent about his reasons for leaving the sport, which has led to ongoing speculation and debate among fans and analysts. Since his retirement, Edwards has maintained a low profile in the racing world. He occasionally appears for rescue and recovery work in his home state of Missouri, where he has also been courted to run for public office. Edwards has neither confirmed nor denied interest in a political career, maintaining the air of mystery that has surrounded him since his departure from NASCAR.